My name is Cyndi Williams. I'm your host. This is my show, From Bliss to Abundance. My purpose in life is to inspire and motivate people to follow their bliss into abundance. One of the major ways I do that is in the travel industry. And today we have one of the most exciting guests, Steve Smotrys from Cunard. Welcome this morning. How are you, Steve?
Good morning, Cyndi. I'm great. Thanks for having me on. This is fantastic.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. We have a very large travel agent, travel professional, travel agency owner community that follows us online. And we love to bring them all the latest and greatest with vendors and what's happening in the industry and all that good stuff. So I'm super excited to be sharing whatever you want to share with us today. I have some questions prepared, but just to share a little bit about you, you lead the North American sales team for Cunard, correct?
Correct. Yes, I do.
Awesome.
And in North America, we source about 25% of the business for Cunard, a very global brand. But we are growing our support of the North America travel advisor community. And it's really a huge priority for us right now.
That's amazing. And you've been in the industry for 17 years, I read on my brief. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, I started, I've been in different sides of the business. Started with Princess Cruises, which is one of our sister brands.
Yep.
And for about the last 5 years, I've been on Cunard, and it's such a pleasure representing such a historic, iconic brand. So it's pretty exciting.
I love it. So you, like me, were back in the industry way back when we were still handwriting and doing tariff tax. You remember?
I don't like to admit that, but yes.
I know, and it's like how the industry has changed so much from back then to today. And I mean, for me, I love it because a lot of the people we work with are working from home and building their businesses, and it's the evolution, though, from your typical travel agent is now that we're all running our own little online businesses.
It's amazing. It's so amazing.
And I think why it's so great to have a guest like you on the show is education has to be self-directed and self-initiated. Right. So if I want to sell a luxury brand like Cunard, I have to go out and educate myself and learn about it. And it's way more fun if you do it on a show like this. So thank you
for sure.
Absolutely. So maybe let's start with, of course, you have, for people that aren't familiar with the Cunard brand, or maybe they haven't reached into the luxury market yet,
sure.
Tell us a little bit about your fleet, about the queens, about the fun stuff. What should the new agent know that's just getting familiar with your brand?
Yeah, so Cunard's the oldest brand. It's been around 180 years, if you can believe that. Pretty amazing. So much great history of famous ships, famous people that have sailed on Cunard. But today's fleet in this huge, massive cruise segment, we're relatively small. We have 3 ships. They're relatively young ships overall. And and what's really unique about Cunard is we have the only ocean liner carrying passengers today in Queen Mary 2. She's our flagship. Very special. And so I always have to explain what's the difference between an ocean liner and everything else out there, which is a cruise ship. An ocean liner is really what they used to back in the golden age of cruising, which is about like the 1920s to 1960s. Every ship was an ocean liner. And the design features for Queen Mary 2 specifically is, if you look at the front of her, she's got a very narrow V-shaped hull like this, whereas most cruise ships are a little bit wider. She has a very deep draft, meaning she sits very deep in the water, makes her more stable. Amazingly, she's got about twice the thickness of steel as a typical cruise ship. I had another trade partner said, "Oh, so she's big boned."
I love that. So good.
I love that. So I'm always using
full
that.
figure model. Yeah, I love it.
And then she's got special stabilizers as well. So all of these things make her very efficient in the water. She's the fastest passenger ship at sea. And she's made specifically for that transatlantic crossing, going back and forth between New York and London. And even if the weather is really rough, she does marvelous. Now, my very first crossing on her, when I first came over to Cunard, I said, well, I want to see her in action. So I want to go usually the Atlantic's not too bad, but if you go when I went, which was mid-December, it can be a little sketchy.
Yeah.
So for the first 5 days of a 7-day crossing, we had 18 to 20 foot swells. And that sounds pretty daunting on the surface.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how stable this ship stays in the water. And the image that I have in my mind always is, I was in the Britannia dining room, which is very low on the ship. It has these floor to ceiling windows, and the waves are crashing against these windows, and it looks like we're underwater basically. But my wine glass is barely moving on
Wow.
the table. You don't get the side to side because she's so stable in the water. Obviously, you're going over waves, so you're still feeling that, but the difference is significant. So she is, if you're going across the Atlantic and do a transatlantic crossing, she is the only ship you should be doing it on. And then the rest of our fleet, we've got Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth, which are sister ships. They are traditional cruise ships. Very, very beautiful. You see throughout our whole fleet, you see the craftsmanship on board, which is very, harkens back to ships of the past. Really, really beautifully designed ships. So we're pretty proud of the fleet that we have, even though it is relatively small.
Yeah, no, and I love it. It's so funny because my husband, he's not super into cruising. Like, it's really hard to get him. So he's like, unless I'm going on the Queen Mary 2, like, don't talk to me about it first. And I'm like, listen, buddy. So we are such fans. We've never been, but I love also the storytelling that you guys do with your brand. I think that's really amazing in terms of how you represent yourself in the marketplace. And can we talk about, is it B340? Is that the haunted? What's the haunted? Yes, B340 is the haunted. Can we talk about that just for a second? Because
we can.
I have a friend who's kind of a famous author, and I saw one of your videos, and you said that you had like a love of The Shining, which I'll share. Maybe you know this already. I grew up in Michigan, but The Shining was actually based on a hotel on Mackinac Island. It's called the Grand Hotel. You can actually go and stay there. There's no cars. It's all horse and buggy. It's like going back in time.
Wow. Going back in time.
It's a common thing in Michigan. Like, my sister worked up there. Like, you would go and work all summer on the island, right? So if you might want to check that out. It's 5-star, super cool. But I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, let me watch this little video. And then I have my friend who also is from Michigan. He's an author and he writes horror novels. And I was like, he is going to just dig this B340 thing. So tell us a little bit about, the whole thing that you guys have set up there. Because I think that's one of those unique things that unless you hear it from someone, people aren't going to know. And I think travel agents can use that cool stuff when we're selling, when we're talking to clients who might have an interest in that kind of immersive travel, right?
So, as I mentioned, Cunard has so many famous ships of the past, and one of them obviously is the original Queen Mary.
Yeah.
She's now a hotel in Long Beach. She's been there a long time. Long Beach I'm based in Los Angeles, so she's kind of in our backyard, just down the road. And so we partner with it, even though they're not really part of Cunard anymore. It's a famous Cunard ship. We partner with the Queen Mary all the time on different things because obviously it's part of our history.
Nice.
So the story there is the Queen Mary is considered one of the most haunted places in the world. And in particular, there's one room called B340, which was closed for 30 years because guests who were staying there would leave in the middle of the night because of disturbances. So they boarded it up and never, it wasn't available. And I guess a couple of years ago, they decided to open it up. And, in today's, I think, paranormal craze, it's become an attraction for a lot of people. So as part of promoting our Facebook page, my PR team talked me into using it as a gimmick that I would stay there if we got up to a certain number of followers. So we went down there back in the fall, and I will say it was very creepy. I didn't have any sightings, but I did not sleep well that night either.
When and the guy's telling you like, "Oh, there's a vortex here," I would be like, "I'm out." Like,
Oh, I know.
No way.
Yes, the Commodore. His name is Everett Horde, who's really great. He's so passionate about the Queen Mary. He knows all of its history, and he said, I know I won't go into this room for more than 5 to 10 minutes because I get really kind of anxiety.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, he wasn't doing a very good job of easing my nerves, let's say.
That's so great. What a fun, we always get like the coolest experiences in this industry, right? So I just love that. That's so fun. And you're right, like people are getting into like that niche, travel and different stuff. So I thought that was a cool one. Now I want to ask you, for our experience agent who is selling Cunard and it's in their, one of the things we teach in our program is we teach people how to reach those luxury clients and bring them in and make them recurring clients. So for that group of my audience, what can you tell us that's something like maybe behind the scenes or something that would be like a juicy little tidbit that we would never know unless we talk to you?
Yeah. It's a very different, so there's a lot of great cruise experiences in the luxury space. Cunard's a little bit different in that, one, our ships are a little bit larger. And I hear it from luxury advisors all the time that, yeah, my luxury guests, they really kind of want more smaller, intimate experiences. Mm-hmm. But I think what's interesting about Cunard is if you're up in our grills, which represents about 15% of our capacity on the ships, you can have an absolute intimate experience. If you're up at the Queen's Grill, you're gonna have a butler that tends to your every need, will unpack and pack for you, plan all your excursions and things like that. Really there to take care of you throughout the sailing. And you're gonna have your own dining room that's very intimate, very high level. You can order off the menu. You can bring in your favorite recipe and the chef will prepare it. Those kind of things that are very, very specific to that luxury guest. But then you have this large ship that provides entertainment that only a large ship can. So great theaters and fantastic lounges that you can go relax in, all these different things you can do throughout the day that only a large ship can provide. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds there. Mm-hmm. So it really, I think, provides something unique in the cruise space. And plus there's a lot of experiences that are very unique to Cunard. Things like you can do acting lessons, you can do fencing lessons that we do. We have the largest dance floors at sea with a live orchestra every night. So if you love dancing, there's all these things that are very, very unique to Cunard. Experiences that you won't get anywhere else, let alone a cruise experience. So there's this huge passionate audience that just love the Cunard experience. Mm-hmm. People that will have been on other cruise experiences and they get on Cunard and they're like, I'm not going to do anything else because it just fits into their wheelhouse of kind of their sensibilities and their tastes. So it is pretty special in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I think, river cruising is great, but it's like you can go a little stir crazy and you run, it's the same group of little people and it's kind of like, for someone like me with a big personality, I'm like, let me meet more people, let me do more things, try more stuff. So I think there's pros and cons of both, but I'm more of a fan, in the larger arena because I want more activities to do and more circles to run in and things like that. And of course, we were always filming for our YouTube channel, so we want lots of like content after you do the couple 100 feet or whatever it is. The other areas you run out of stuff to do. So you guys are celebrating your 180th anniversary, you mentioned, and I heard a rumor that there is another ship on the horizon. Can you tell us anything about that? Is there anything you can share?
There's not a whole lot I can share yet. It's brand new ship coming in 2022. We're super excited about that. What I can share is she will be a traditional cruise ship, not an ocean liner like Queen Mary 2, but she'll be our largest ship, about 3,000 passengers. Wow. But the one thing about all the Cunard ships, even though that maybe sounds like a lot to like a luxury guest, we also have one of the largest passenger to space ratios in the industry. So you really never feel crowded. All of our public rooms are really scattered throughout the ship. So they're not like centralized in one place. So you never feel crowded. But the new ship, it's really taking a lot of signature venues that are specific to Cunard, like our Queen's Room, which I mentioned had the largest dance floors at sea. That is a beautiful space that people love. And I've seen some renderings of the new one. It's really kind of taking the essence of that venue and putting a modern spin on it. So a lot of venues like that are theater, very different look and feel, very modern twist on it. Are the design team is led by Adam Tahani, who has been very famous for doing a lot of high-end restaurants and hotels around the world. So we're really excited to have him as leading the charge on taking that new vision of the modern Cunard and what it looks like. So I think we'll have some more announcements and things to share about Q1 of next year.
Awesome.
But it's really exciting that we've got that ship coming in the very near future.
Yes, and really excited for our repeat travelers, right, that have been on the other ships and they're like, oh, I want that something new, right? So
they already want to know, can I put down a deposit?
I know, like, tell us.
Amazing.
Let me know when your press event is. I will be there. We will put you all over our YouTube channel for sure.
Excellent.
But that is such, we're excited. So that's a really cool, fun thing. I want to ask you kind of one last question, then I'm going to ask you what your favorite trip ever was. But what's your favorite itinerary? If you had that new client and they're like, I just, I can go anywhere. I just want to do something amazing. What's the one itinerary that stands out to you personally that you just love in all of your mixes of everything that you guys offer?
Oh, wow. There's so many to choose from.
There really is.
I'm going to cheat and say two. One, I'm going to say the transatlantic crossing, because anybody who's a cruise fan should all do a transatlantic crossing, especially if you have ancestors who came over to North America by ship, which a lot of us do.
Yeah.
One of every 5 people who immigrated to North America did so on a Cunard ship. So there's this really rich history tied into that. And when you're doing it on Queen Mary 2, there's something very special when you're in the middle of the Atlantic and there's nothing around you. And you think about you're going in the footsteps of your ancestors.
Oh, wow.
There is nothing like, it's so hard to articulate it, but when you do it, you will see what I'm talking about. It's very, very special. And then the other thing I have to mention is we're going to Alaska this year for the first time in 20 years.
That was going to be my pick. That was going to be my pick. Oh, I'm so excited.
And so, obviously there's so many options up in Alaska. There's so many different great cruise products.
Yes.
But so we said we got to do something completely different. So we are doing 10-day round trip out of Vancouver. Makes the air very simple. And it's a very, very rich itinerary. So you do 6 ports, 2 glaciers. It's a full day stop in every port. Like Victoria tends to be a half-day stop a lot of times. You're going to be there a whole day. So it's a really, really fantastic way to see Alaska, especially if you've never been there before. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And then this year we're doing a relatively short season. We're about sold out. Next year in 2020, we're doing 9 or 10 sailings, a full slate. It's going to be, again, about between 9 and 11-day round trips out of Vancouver. And the exciting thing is we are one of the few cruises that will have Glacier Bay as well. So
wow, that's going to be amazing.
Exciting. Yes, and if you're going up there, you want to see Glacier Bay. It is special.
I've been all over the world. I've never been to Alaska. That's like my
what?
I know, right? Like I've been everywhere, and I keep trying to talk my husband into it every single like let's book for next summer. And he's like,
yeah.
I hate the cold. Why would I want to do that? And I'm just like,
you know what? Sometimes the weather can be. You never know what you're going to get. It could be raining. It could be 85 degrees. But the first time I've done Alaska 3 times, and I was reluctant to do it the first time, and it surprised me in so many ways because it is. And I think of all cruise experiences, Alaska is the one that a cruise makes the most sense because the nature's all around you. It's not like you're out in the middle of the ocean. You've got it the right of you and the left of you. You don't even have to get off the ship, and it's right there in your face.
Yes.
It's spectacular.
I'm going to leave him home. Trust me. Like, I'm not afraid to do that. Like, we have an agreement in our marriage. Like, he's like, okay, you get 2 family vacations a year. The rest, go ahead and go. You're on your own.
Very smart. The secret to a long marriage.
I'm going to get there one way. Yeah, no, and we've been married. We got married in Disney World 15 years ago. This year, so
oh wow, congratulations.
We've been living the travel life for a long time. Like, he's done with travel now. He's all like, let's get the kids to college and then we can pick up again. But
there you go.
That has not stopped me. I'm just like, I'll see you in a week.
You gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
And when it's in your blood, right? They don't call me the Wanderlust CEO for nothing, right? So I love it. So last question, what has been in your whole life, what has been your favorite? We like to ask everyone that comes on the show. We've had authors and actors and motivational speakers and people from all over the world. What's been your favorite bucket list trip you've ever done, or your favorite vacation, and why?
Wow. Okay. Again, I'm going to cheat because I got to put a cruise in there, and I got to do a land because they're so different. Cruise. My favorite cruise ever was last summer on Queen Victoria. I went to the Baltic. Had this really rich itinerary overnight in St. Petersburg, saw Swan Lake in St. Petersburg in this old historic theater. There's so many memories from that sailing, which was just spectacular. Love the Baltic, would do it again in a heartbeat. And then a land-based, a few years ago, my girlfriend and I went to, we had an itinerary that was a lot around Europe, but one particular day is we were in Provence about the height of lavender season.
Oh my gosh.
And rented a car and just had a little bit of loosely kind of where we're going, but a little bit of just kind of wandering as well, and all the great surprises. Lavender field, and you're walking through them, and then a medieval town after medieval town, like gourd and salts, and oh my gosh, it was just, I always say that that's my favorite vacation day because it was full of surprises and just spectacular in every way.
It's always the ones that you don't expect and you can't plan for. It's you're like right. Lavender was in bloom and the sun was shining. You're with your love, and it's exactly. Those and this is why I get so excited about travel and why I'm the whole Bliss to Abundance thing is when you have that connection outside of yourself right. to a day like that, when you were 89, there's a great Wayne Dyer quote, and it's are you going to live the same year 90 times? Or are you going to, wake up and live a new year every year? And I think travel is one of those things that gets you out of your shell, it gets you out of your head, and it connects you to this beautiful experience and kind of why we're here. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing, and it's why I do what I do, and I'm sure Absolutely. Why you've been doing it for 17 plus years, right?
Industry. I always say we're so lucky to be part of this industry, and what we give to people. I mean, we love it. We put so much love and passion into it because we're creating these amazing memories for people. Just like you said. I mean, you said it lovely. It's so, it feels so special to be able to do that and give those memories to people.
Yeah, when you're 90 and 100, are you going to look back and go, I wish I would have worked harder. I wish I would have right. grinded a little harder at the office. No, you're you know what I remember? I remember that day with the lavender and the medieval towns and exactly. the Alaska or the whatever. Those are the jewels that are your life. Everything else is the in between. So make more of that, and we get to we're the genie in a bottle. We get to deliver those dreams. It's such a beautiful industry that we've been blessed to be a part of for decades now, and it's really having a whole resurgence with travel agents at home. So 2 quick things. One, if you guys are thinking about starting or stuck in your travel agency and it's not growing and you want to know how to attract luxury clients, reach out to us at careersonvacation.com/ready now to find out about our mastermind program. And if you want to learn more about the Cunard product, Steve has a great website for us here. Tell us where we can find you guys online so they can follow along on your page, Steve.
Yeah, so it's on Facebook, Cunard NAM, and NAM stands for North America, but Cunard NAM Sales. It is a Facebook page that is dedicated to our travel advisors. We do videos, we put our selling tips, our latest offers out there. It's a constant communication, and it's both ways. I personally go in and check it each day or every other day, and I do a lot of interacting back and forth with advisors. So it's a great, as you're using it in a fantastic way, it's a great way to have that kind of dialogue and communication and connection with our travel advisors. So we really suggest going out there and following us, and I think you'll be pretty happy with the content that's on there.
Absolutely. And we're going to do a replay of this video. So if you guys are watching it later, just as a reminder, if you're listening to the podcast, you can watch this video on YouTube. You can watch it on our TV show on Amazon Fire or Roku on the Raven International Network. Look for the TV show Bliss to Abundance. And then also on our Facebook group, if you want to actually watch me and Steve, because we're fantastic. And you're hearing us on the podcast on iTunes or iHeart or Apple TV, all that good stuff. We're everywhere. So you can find it in all those places as well. I'm going to link Steve's information below. So all you guys have to do is click and you can go follow his page on Facebook and then have that same interaction and access to those videos and great stuff that he's talking about. So Steve, hang out for me just a second. I'm going to put us down on Facebook, and I see you guys are all commenting. Thank you for joining live today. I will go back and answer the comments a little bit later today. So don't worry. It's just a busy show today. So hang out for me just a second. I am going to turn us off on Facebook, and I'll see you guys next week.
Meg loves to travel. She's tired of her stressful job and wishes she could have her own travel business. Meg heard travel agents get amazing discounts and work from home or while they travel. This sounds perfect, but Meg has no idea where to start. Meg is worried she will fail because she's never worked in travel, and launching a business is overwhelming. That's when Meg found Careers on Vacation, which taught Meg everything she needed to launch her portable, profitable travel business. Meg got to work with industry expert Cyndi Williams and the Careers on Vacation team to launch her travel business in just weeks. Now Meg is helping families book dream vacations, earning amazing commissions, and traveling the world. Meg is so grateful she found Careers on Vacation.